think we're up and running. There. I should have some music coming through here in a click. And I bet I'm live. So let's check in there to see if I am. Yep. And the mic check should be good. Yep. And
oh, there we go.
Check should be good.
Let's make sure. Oh, there we go. Volume. Let's make sure. Oh, there we go.
Yes, looks like I am sitting pretty. Okay, cool. So we'll drop that volume down there. And hey, good morning, folks. My name is Phil Kearney, and I create artwork for role-playing games. I make games, I illustrate them, and then I publish them online. So I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here. Pretty much I've been making stuff for it off and on for the past 7 years. I've been using Eberron, so hey, 20th anniversary for Eberron. I think I've been around for like around maybe 18 of them. And from then, Eberron pretty much became my forever homebrew home. And got a great setting. So I haven't created any adventures in 5th edition yet, and I've never created any actual content specifically for Eberron before, though I like making reference to how it can be used and the different ideas that I create. But we are currently making an adventure called Crystals of Mabar. It is for 7th and 8th level characters. You're basically fighting Emerald cultists and undead around in the Carnwood of Karnath on Corvair, the continent on Eberron. So this is the book cover. You'll see this when it's published on DMsGuild. But for now, we're coloring tiles. So when we last left off, we had finished. Hold on for it. All right, so we completed the map. Hey, Hernanico, it's good to see you. Let's see. We have the overland view, which is the dilapidated monument. And then here is the profile view of said top view here and a draftsman-style side view. You can see that there's a sinkhole that falls into the interior space, and the interior space is occupied by a living grave that will spit out creatures. It's a large sized ooze basically, so it easily fills the space here. Undead can crawl out of the sinkhole, and this becomes the stage for a short skirmish. Drop down into the sinkhole and then kill the grave inside of it. Crawl back out, and death and evil will come out no more. So that's the idea behind it. DM can throw in as many of these as he wants to just throw. Like if you're a random encounter sort of person, this is an optional encounter that can be included on any exploration inside of the manifest zone. So it's just basically an add-on, like just a way to pad out some of the I mean, there's the actual like important, like quote unquote, story beats that like the characters have to get out of the forest into the manifest zone to eventually deal with the Emerald Claw necromancers that are generating the manifest zone. But it depends on how much content and how much time a DM wants to spend in this adventure. Depends on, are any of these optional encounters necessary or not. Plus, they just become neat little standalone vignettes that can be reapplied to different scenarios. Like, I don't think it'll be ready this year, but next year, for instance, the cemetery map that we've been using for color reference here, we could. My rule is up, down, and then left, right. So we go to make sure that I can stay within my own borders and keep things clean. I have to have a hierarchy of movement. So I needed to work on this first because, like, if I overlap lines here, I need to erase here, and then I'll smudge out that line there. So having a flow, a workflow for when you're like doing filling flat color like this, that's really useful to always be on one side of always be moving in the direction of one side of the piece. And in this instance, it's from the upper left to the lower right, drop and then across, drop and then across, drop and then across, drop and then across. Typically is the pattern, so that I can make sure I don't have to erase any previous work to adjust what I'm currently pixeling on. So, man, the Mad Max movie last night, I went and saw that before. I only streamed for maybe an hour last night on Spelljammer stuff, but the last night was the last night that the new Furiosa movie was going to be in theaters, and holy shit, I wish I'd gone earlier. It was a legitimately good movie. It's tied. Road Warrior has always been my favorite, and then Thunderdome, then probably the Tom Hardy Theron Cirque du Soleil Furiosa movie is fourth, and then the first movie is the least, simply because he has too much humanity still in the first movie, and it's more about boohoo, the world is ending and now my family is gone than about Road Warriors. So it's always been my least favorite because it's the origin story. I don't give a shit. But this Ann Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth movie. It's just it's really good. It is tied for first. Like Thunderdome and Road Warrior were both, I think, really, really good, and this is just a really nice add-on piece to that. So if it's still in the theaters, wherever it is that you're at, go see it. It's definitely worth the big screen. I will definitely watch it as soon as it becomes available for rent, and then once it starts streaming for free, I'll happily make it background noise. It kind of introduced a it didn't focus on it, but it introduced a sort of subculture of like the Road Warrior as like a character archetype. Like I don't think I'm spoiler alerts or whatever, but like there was a Mad Max type character, even had like the same type of outfit, like with the single pauldron and the leather, and it was just it reminds me very much of Goonies. The Goonies movie had these little tribbles with teeth that, as they ate more things, they got bigger and bigger. Otherwise they're like little furry soccer balls, kind of like Gremlins, but also kind of like those stupid little squeezy toys from the 80s. It's kind of like that. Anyway, they eat, just like Gremlins. The more they eat, the more they grow, they reproduce. Well, actually, Gremlins reproduce in water. These grow and then basically spawn more furballs. And so in the Goonies movie, there were space bounty hunters that came to Earth to collect the Goonies, while high school kids tried to avoid being eaten. And the mercenary aspect of the movie very much reminded, like the motif, the look, the general look of the Mad Max type characters. Very much matched that look. The leather-clad adventurer, shotgun on your hip, badass sort of characters. It's lots of rigged combat, lots of cool motorcycle stuff. Super, super fun combat. It felt, I don't know how much CGI there was versus practical effects, but it was very strong. Anyway, I'm rambling about it. It was a cool movie. It was a super cool movie. But I'll be back at lunch today. We're refining and revising the martial powers. The playtesting for 3rd and 4th level went really well. It was a fucking fun adventure. And anyone that had stuck around to check out the Color Mana Hexcrawl toolbox that I had been streaming at lunchtime about a month or so ago, it was successful in building up. We had 5 sessions. We spent basically 20 hours inside of one of the land tiles. There was multiple types of encounters. There was both combat, social, and exploration challenges. Multiple terrain types inside of the 30-mile, the 10-mile land tile that they were inside of. There was 3 factions that they were screwing around with, and in the end they secured safety from an Izet Sphinx that was in the area looking for lost research. So it hired the team because they were smaller than the huge-sized Sphinx. The team could get into areas where it couldn't. So it promised the caravan safe passage if it would retrieve a MacGuffin for it. So the team retrieved it and secured the way for the caravan to move forward. So they gained 2 levels out of it. But we gained a lot of assessment that, like, the strikes, at low level, the strikes are expensive. They're not really worth the mana. And that the maneuvers are either really good or really bad. And that exploits need to be potentially reworked for better value per point. So I am going to... I've been in the process of... Oops. I've been in the process of rebuilding the sustain powers, folding, like making some of the exploits kicker effects. While you're sustaining this effect, you can use this exploit or you can use this reaction. So that helps make more value. And we're getting rid of concentration, so you don't have to worry about maintaining concentration anymore. And so we're just going to reduce the amount of powers overall, so there's a little bit less decision paralysis since it's a prep system. And that is a very, very large amount of powers to choose from. What's up? Your watch list must be crazy. Hey, Karen, it's good to see you. Thanks, Ernetico. I've just been around for a long time. I'm like 50. So there's a lot of media I've consumed over the years, which is probably why, honestly, it's probably why it's so easy for me to improv adventure, because I have such a vast media library inside my head, and I'm particularly good at remembering quotes and plots and circumstances that heroes get into during these movies. So it's not that difficult to take pieces here and there and cobble together something amalgam that doesn't feel like anything else, but if you peel it apart, you can see all its little individual pieces. Don't make me reference. I'm just talking out of pocket right now. But if you've been in my games, you'll probably be able to say it's true. I don't know. I just know I have decent retention. So I tell you, man, if you're going to run a 20-level campaign, you need retention. And I've never been a much of a character development DM. Like my philosophy, and I've talked about this, you guys know this, that if you want to develop your characters, like background and stuff, that's on you. Like I'm rendering an entire world and trying to layer in investigation and in combat scenarios in interesting environments. It's sometimes I can find an excuse to work in whatever it is that I know about a character's backstory or goals or plot. I can work those into it, especially like as side quests. If it's like low hanging fruit, it's easy to grab, and then it can like any other organic campaign, you can riff off of that and let it build. But for the most part, I let players figure out how can they make their backstory work inside of the scenario that I've created for them, because I don't care. Old BX did not care what your character's background was. Here's the scenario. If you want to make this feed into your character's backstory, then that's like your own little mini game, or that's your homework. Like a DM has to go home and do homework by prepping the next session. Players can use this means of not being necessarily important to the plotline, but inserting themselves into the plotline. That becomes good. Like, how would my character deal with this? What is there in my character's backstory that might lead me to where this adventure is at right now, or what have we seen in this adventure that I could use to backfill and springboard my own character's life further? Like, why was this important? You don't have to know why it was important until after the adventure is over, And as part of the leveling process, it's fun to think, what is this environment doing that further, like, why was being here good for my character's story, or who I envision my character doing, or the plot arc that I envisioned for them. And then as you work those things into your idea, you can introduce, like, hey, here's how I'm riffing off of this. Like, asking a DM to riff something in advance is one thing, but like saying, hey, that game that we ran across, was there anybody that was left over? It's like, yeah, there's a couple thugs that you could probably still find around that know the thing. It's like, cool, I want to build a gang. It's like, that's awesome. And so you can take what remnant is left over from whatever adventure you're in and start using that to build out your own character's narrative. Am I rambling enough? Is this fun? Hey, has the Spelljammer book been selling well? It's deep in. It's about I want to say like 160 sales. So it's the fastest moving book that I've ever built. Thanks for asking, Karen. Yeah, it's been going really well. Ultimately, it's a springboard because like it's that source book. It's expensive. So most people buy it with the discount coupon. But once I finish one of the other Spelljammer projects that I have on the plate, I'll be able to create a bundle out of it so I can permanently lock down the cost of the book and then add on value with another one. So the Warforged and Machines is converting the animal-looking fighter craft and ships into humanoid-shaped fighter craft and ships so that you can Gundam or Escaflowne or however you want to play. But the mechanics are basically there. I just need to let it sit, percolate a little bit. I also need to do some versus a giant playtesting just to make sure that the scaling works well. You should be able to punch one tier above your normal weight class when you're in mech. So I need to throw together like some fire giants and make a little one-shot skirmish scenario with characters running around in forged frames. That's coming along nicely. The Vokath's Battle Crab, we're coloring the base now. So once we finish coloring that, we're going to... I'm starting to think about prepping a play test for the fleet battle between Vokath's guests and the Star Elves. And then I just started earlier this week the Spelljammer subclass. So all the unique mechanics that are in the book that make the Spelljammer system I have work. There's a lot of character options that can be manipulated for subclass effects. So we just started that. We did the Artificer, the Bard, and the Barbarian, and started in on the Cleric. But I'm not happy with where we're at with the Cleric right now. But I'm making that my Wednesday project. So Tuesdays and Saturdays I'm working on martial power. Tuesdays and Fridays I'm working on martial powers. Wednesdays I'm working on the Spelljammer subclasses, and then Monday and Tuesday I'm working on Vokath's 500-foot battle crab, as well as Warmech golems and vehicles for the Warforged and Machines book. So it's coming along. When we get to where we want to be with it, there should be there'll be 3 side pieces and then the main core book. It should be able to have the whole bundle of it be like around $25 for all the books at like a 30% discount, and then I continue making massive ships like the Elven Monarch and all those other large class ships. So, and there's stuff I want to do about Nyogi. There's stuff I want to do with Aboleths. There's stuff I want to do with Illithid. There's stuff I want to do with the Skrull army. So there's a dwarven fortresses. There's a ton of stuff. Like I want to make a side adventure for Lyda Zaraxis involving Topola's Tower. If you've seen the map, you see it already that there's like dwarven faces and stuff like that that's littered in the asteroid belt, the asteroid field around Topola's Tower. What I want to do is build a dwarven fortress at the 500-foot scale, and then shatter it, and put in and have those shattered pieces be represented in Topola's asteroid field. So that asteroid field is really a destroyed dwarven citadel that she's just basically parked in. So there'll be all sorts of little anthropology sites throughout the asteroid belt that like while you're fighting Big Mama in the asteroid field to get Topola's help, the DM can like, hey, here's a bunch of cool shit that you're seeing amongst those asteroids while you're chasing Big Mama. And once that big fish is dead, like if you have to spend like 3 days waiting for your Spelljammer helm to come back online, if you got Spelljammer screamed by a Hastane's Esoteric, your helm will be down for potentially 10 days. And so that gives you, like, if you have a bunch of little like little 3 or 5 room dungeons scattered around Topola's asteroid field full of dwarven treasures, like, yeah, I don't mind squatting here for a few days. So and it helps fund you to like bribe the Garganhale and the Doomspace factions to assist you in your adventure. So I like taking those little pieces and building them out. Just like when this is done, I can start using this for different, like, instead of like being undead, this could be like a crack. This could be an entry point into the Underdark, for example, and then I can make a bunch of demon ants or something. Like this would be like a breach seal in an underground insect complex, for example, and I can just use this and put it in a separate scenario unrelated to this adventure at all, because the map is still good. I just changed up the data points. Hey, what's up? I've been ignoring you guys. No, don't wait for it. It'll be like a year. But check out the free preview. If you haven't checked out the free preview, you don't have to buy it unless you want me to make more of them. But yeah, definitely go check out the book, and if it's useful for you, start using it, because the entire book is available in free preview. It's just that if you buy it, you get 100. There's like 120 tokens, like ship tokens, maps, navigation, little character handouts, and all the characters and stuff for Lattice or Axis. There's a bunch of asteroids, so there's a lot of assets that are just in there. So it's useful, but the knowledge itself is what you need. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have all I won't have all this stuff done until next year at some point. I've got a very long production life cycle. And I can still hear myself, so I need to drop that. Oop, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, get notifications when I'm live in the future. The book itself is linked here, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. Ooh, for anyone that's checking in on this, the Spell Point Warlocks, that's like 8 sales away from being a gold bestseller, and it's a pay what you want. So I am thrilled that my little Spell Point Warlock thing, like a little 12-page thing for pay what you want, is actually garnered 500 sales. That A, makes me very proud, but B, kind of leans into the idea that spell points are good. People like spell points. Like, they have their place. I think I've talked about this before. The monk is basically a warlock that has all of its invocations pre-picked for it, and instead of cantrips, it has unarmed combat. And Stunning Strike is very much the Pact of the Blade of the monk. But they're basically structured the same. So a warlock using monk key progression of 1 point per level up to 20, plus then you have the advanced, the Mystic Arcanum at 11th level plus, but as a separate thing. But the Pact Magic being a 20-point mana, just like a monk is, but with different ways to spend the mana. It's I like how those two are like sister classes. Same kind of like how the Ranger and the Paladin are basically structured and resourced the same, with very different abilities. So too the Monk and the Warlock are similar. the Eberron. What's up? Though past couple weeks I've been doing a lot of physical preps. Oh, right on, making Jim Henson style pup. No shit. That's awesome. That is super cool, man. The Spelljammer Asteroid Belt campaign that I'm running for my work team, they are they're on their third adventure now. I think we're 15-ish sessions in. Each session is 16 sessions ish. Each adventure's I mean, we only play for 1 hour a week, so it's intense. But they are currently they've done 2 asteroid delves, and right now they are about to start a mission as fighter pilots that are protecting their territory from elven invasion. The game is broken up into 10-day cycles, so they get one adventure every 10 days. But there's multiple threats that are on the battlefield that are in the environment at the same time. So the players choose which scenario they personally want to delve into, and then the rest of the situations are resolved with a single die roll as an ability check, basically. And depending on how well they succeed or fail, advances like an NPC side, like B storyline that they aren't directly participating in, but they learn about how it's proceeding. So there was an elven squadron that decided to park themselves for a few days in the team's territory, and it prevented them from being able to send in miners to go start excavating an asteroid full of electrum. So they've lost out on profit for there's like up to 2 resources they could have gained from that rock, and it was denied access to them. So they are this session, the 2 options they had was to explore a sector of their territory because there's some sort of weird plant-like mass that's drifting in with a bunch of asteroids. They could have explored that for potential threats because, there could be any sort of monsters that are in there. Or they could have taken on some fighter craft and started patrolling their invaded territory for additional threats. And the miners in that territory refuse to continue mining until there's assurances that the area is secure, that they're not going to get ambushed or hurt or something. So the team could have chosen to deal with the miners that are striking and do a diplomacy mission using negotiation tactics to open up, to get them back to work and air any grievances and discover any potential issues that are going on inside of their organization, or provide military proof that the area is secured as a strong-arm tactic to show that the team, the guild that the team runs, is in control of their territory, and that miners are investing their time well to gain revenue, because they don't get paid if they're not mining either. So they're like, we're at a work stop here. This is a dead zone. What are you going to do about it? We can't operate under these conditions with the threat of being hurt, so deal with it. So the team decided it'd be fun to run around inside fighter craft. Since I made it an option, they figured there's ship combat available, and depending on what they find, they're right. So I'm on the back burner. I'm letting the scenario percolate. I've got a lot of asteroid belt combat stuff going on inside of my head, and what kind of enemies the team might find when they go on patrol, and what stragglers, like what elven stragglers may be left at the fringes of their territory that they have to confront. But in the last mission, since they relegated, this happened because they didn't directly deal with the armada themselves. They went and chased out. They went and cleared out a platinum asteroid. So they were investing their personal time in getting platinum, and they let the NPC guild they control deal with the elves. And they decided they could have used espionage to find out what was going on without directly confronting the elves. They could have used diplomacy. Oops, I'm out of order. They could have used diplomacy to officially send an envoy to ask the elves what's going on, and potentially created a scenario where they're assisting the elves. Their third option was military, to use since the elves don't have legal authority to be in their territory, they could use a show of force, and probably they're weaker than the elves, way weaker, but they could use their leverage of being in their own territory, and the elves not. If you're out of your own territory, there's no one to protect you. There's no legal recourse. You're on your own. But if there's conflict inside your territory started by another organization, that's technically a war crime. And the organization that you invaded has every right to retaliate. And B, if it escalates, other organizations are sort of like contracted to assist you. So when they showed up, they just made an ability check, basically like a strength check, and they succeeded. And that was a sufficient show of strength to have the elves be like, yeah, we recognize we're in the wrong here, we're out of here. But you don't know why they were there, and you don't know what else is going on. So they decided to go military route, because if there is some sort of straggler remnants, they wanted to be able to protect their miners, and that was because that's the gig, protect the miners. So if there is something hostile, they want a squadron of fighter craft in the area, so that they can deal with whatever that threat is. And of course, that means that I've got a threat plan, and I do, and they don't know, they have no idea what it's going to be, but they're going to find it. So I'm thinking of the different ability checks, and what's the cascade of complications that can happen as a result of what might play out. So I have to have the threat, environmental challenges. Ideally, I'll have some sort of a diplomacy issue that they're going to have to deal with, despite not choosing a diplomacy mission, and different options of exploration while in their fighter craft. So, and that's on Monday. So I'm going to be burning some brain cycles over the weekend to figure out how to. I only need an intro, because I only play 1 hour at a time. So the amount of downtime I can invest compared to the amount of playtime that we get, because they're all coworkers. So basically, we spend one lunch shift a week to run a game, and I've got 5 players now. So it's a very fast, light system. What's your action? You're done. What's your action? You're done. What's your action? You're done. Like, we can cycle through. In 1 hour, we've gotten through like 50 actions before, and everything's always in initiative. And I change the order of initiative every session, but it's only 1 hour, so it's like I'll just roll a random die, and then you go first, and then we go in a circle around from there. So the team never knows what the order is going to be, but it remains consistent throughout the hour, so that it's like, Claire, what are you doing? Awesome. Okay, cool. Now, Bill, what are you doing? Awesome. And we can just keep rotating through action after action, since they only have one attack or one action. Otherwise, we're like always in combat. There's no reason for us to shift out of that initiative during combat. And the action and the resolution is just a single die roll to move on to that. It's very Cypher system in that manner, except that it's an ability score system that ranges from basically 0 to 30. And that's very Numenera as well. Every three ticks is an increased difficulty on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 to 10. 0 has a die roll of 0. 10 has a die roll of 30. So if it's a difficulty 6 challenge, that's a DC 18. If they roll above 18, they gain 1 degree of success. Like if they rolled a 35, if you round up, that would be a 36, which is a 12, and the task was only a 6. So basically, they gain 6 degrees of success above the difficulty of the challenge. So if it was, say, a monster, that difficulty 6 monster basically has 6 hit points. And the way that you deal damage is by exceeding the target number. If they had only rolled a 19, they would have only had 1 degree of success, which means that monster would have taken 1 point of damage. if they had failed the check, say they rolled a 5, 5 round down, 5 round up is 1, 2, 3 is 1. That's right, you round down. So a 5 would be a 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. 6 is 2 degrees of success. I'm still getting intuitive on the math, which is a problem with the system. But a 5 round down by 3, it's only 1 success. It was a difficulty 18. So 18 divided by 3 it's a difficulty 6, so it's an 18. And they only got a 5, which you round down means 1. So 6 minus 1 means 5 degrees of failure. So it could have created a separate challenge. Like it could have a mob that got added, and that mob is a difficulty 5 mob. Or it could have done, like, as a reaction to their failed attempt to hurt it, it could have used like an opportunity attack in retaliation and dealt 5 damage either to a single individual or split up amongst the group, or everyone on the team takes damage. And then you make an ability check to try to resist the damage or resist the effect, whatever it is. And if you fail, you take however many points of damage that was. If you succeed, generally you take none. So it's all or nothing. And characters only get 5 hit points per level. So if they really fail like that, they die. But it only takes 2 minutes to make a new character. So they just introduce a new character and add them to the posse, and then the team keeps moving forward. So otherwise they could have created it like that. That monster is a challenge 6, and they created a new challenge 5 complication. So that could be like an added mob, for instance. So now the team is fighting a challenge 6 as well as a challenge 5 threat. So they have 2 threats they have to deal with each turn, and both of them can damage the team. Like if they were like 6 level, a 6 rank challenge, that's like effectively like a 5th or 6th level adventure for D&D 5e. It basically scales the same. So it'd be more like double the levels. So like it'd be like a 10th level. That would be like a 10th level moderate challenge. I was speaking vaguely. But it's really coming along so far. So I just have to keep, you start at 0 rank, right? And then if you complete 1 adventure, you're 1st rank. And then if you complete 2 adventures, you're 2nd rank. And if you can complete 3 more adventures after that, you're 3rd rank. And then from 3rd rank, 4 more adventures is 4th rank, and then 4 more adventures is 5th rank, and that's the maximum rank that a character can hit. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is 15 adventures, and basically each adventure is roughly 4 or 5 hours. So it's about 60 hours worth of adventure, 60 maybe 70 hours of adventure to take one team from level from 0. Basically in D&D, from 0 to 20th level is the equivalent. So it's only 3 hours spent. There's only 5 levels, so there's more time spent on each level. But in the comparable power curve of 5th edition, it would basically be as though you were only spending 3 hours per character level. Like each session you gain a level, and the campaign ratchets up at the same rate with you. Hey, what time is it? Cool, we still got 40 minutes left. Hold on, I got a tissue thing. Clearing out the last remnants of sick from my body. We had pneumonia here at the household last week, and that just knocked all of us down for... I was offline like for 5 days. So, bleh. That was life telling me to take a rest. I'll lift this up so I can hold my head straight. It's a good system. I plan on having once we get through a full cycle of level of 1st to 5th rank, and the characters cap out their characters. That's what I'm using as my alpha playtest. By then, I'll be able to see all the curve. I've resolved the proficiency issue, like the high level proficiency issue. The issue is that you only have you've got 6 stats, and you only have proficiency and 2 ability rolls, and so your stat array is anywhere from a -2 to a +3. So it's like +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, -2, and you're only proficient in 2 of those ability scores initially, which is fine at like lower ranks. Basically, it's the challenges, the way that you calibrate challenges is at 1st rank you're dealing with 5, 6, 7, 8. No, is it? No, it's challenge rate. The difficulty is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then at 2nd rank it's 2, 3, 4, 5. And then at 3rd rank, it's 3, 4, 5, 6. And then at 4th rank, no, I'm off. It's 4, 5, it's 1 to 5 ranks. And at 5th rank, the maximum challenge is 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the degrees that you have. So like at 1st rank, you're dealing with 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 times 3 is a 12. So like the minimum DC that you have to roll during the adventure is going to be 12. But the maximum DC you're going to have to roll is 21. So a range from 12 to 21 is the ability checks that you're making at 1st level. The best roll you're going to have is going to be D20 plus 3 from your best stat, and if you're proficient in that stat, plus 2. So you're rolling D20 plus 3, and occasionally you get to roll, if it's something that you get to apply effort towards, you get an extra D4, like an inspiration bonus. So generally speaking, at best, at 1st level, the highest die roll that you can make, assuming that you have your stats arranged, that you're proficient in your best ability score, the best result you can normally expect to make is going to be a 25. And the highest you're potentially going to have to roll is a 21. But there's also, like, you could have a -2 in one of your abilities and not be proficient. So you'd be rolling a D20 -2, and you could potentially be having to roll a 21 on that die roll. Occasionally, you get an added D4. So like it could be that your worst stat, your D20 -2. If you were to apply effort, you get effort back basically every 3 rounds. So and then you can hold on to it to spin it as you need, but you'll automatically regain it in 3 rounds. So every 3 rounds, you're either going to spend your effort on a task that you want to perform, or to make a saving, or to boost a saving throw. But with that D4, even the D20 -2, if you roll a 4 on your D4, you can still get a 22. So it's very possible for you at 1st level to, you could succeed, but you're also likely to fail. And the degree of failure that you're going to have at best, if the DC is 21 and you only rolled a D20 -2, is going to be at best a -1, which is 0, which is a skill of 0. If it can go 4, 5, 6, 7, the max of 7, you could potentially generate another 7 rank threat if you were already dealing with. And so it's rare that you're going to get a 0. So it's rare that you're going to have that degree of failure, but you can. And you can rarely so most of it's like a boss would be level 7, like a 7th level rank threat. Most of the time, like most of the stuff is going to be 4 and 5, and then when things start to ratchet up, you start to get into 6s, and then you cap off dealing with something that's a threat level 7. So like as they go further into the dungeon or further into the adventure, the difficulty starts ratcheting up. It'll start with 4s and 5s. It'll get into 5s and 6s, and by the time they get to the boss, it'll be 6s and 7s. 4, 5s, 5, 6, 6s, 7s. So you can break up the adventure in that 3 phase, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, where things continue just to become more intense. Or you could start it off with the most intense up front, and then everything else, now that the team is weakened, everything is a lower challenge because they can't take as much. So at first level, they have 10 hit points. At 0 level, they have 5, plus 5 every time they gain a rank. So at 5th level, at 5th rank, at top level, the best they could ever be, they're going to have 30 hit points each. There's Shadow Dark type random tables that determine perks that they get whenever they gain a rank from level 1 to, like they start with a perk at level 0, and then they gain more random perks as they gain levels, as they gain ranks 1 to 5. So each character is completely randomized. Like you randomize the race, you randomize their profession focus, and you randomize their stat array, and then you randomize the perks that they get. Or you could choose all these things if you want to make a specific type of character. But you could roll just a bunch of D6s and have a new character within like 4 die rolls. So super fast. It's even faster than 4th edition Gamma World. It is the fastest creation system I've ever seen. I'm proud to have created it, but yeah, it is lightning fast to build new characters. So the team decided to have a dungeon, like an asteroid delving team that goes inside of rocks and fights monsters with axes and stuff. And now they're building out a Warforged fightercraft team that'll, be their fighter ship adventuring team. And then once they start getting into espionage, they're going to build a team of spies. And once they start doing diplomacy missions, they're going to build a team of envoys. So they'll have 4 different teams. And so I was talking about, like, it only takes 15 adventures from to go from 0 to the 5th rank. And while they're on that path, they can cash it. They can retire their characters anytime they want. They retire a team, because again, you can swap in new characters at any time, and new characters join the team. So they have a team of adventurers, and if they start at ranks, it doesn't cost anything to start a 0 rank. But like if their organization is 1st rank right now, like they have a 1st rank guild, and once they advance all of their industries to 2nd rank, they'll have a 2nd rank guild. And so the max rank team you can buy, basically you can recruit teams equal to or less than the rank of your organization. So being that the guild is 1st rank right now, they can recruit a 1st rank team. Like, we need to recruit fighter pilots to go deal with these elves. Cool. Let's spend 1 resource point, and now we can recruit a 1st rank team. But once you build the team, you can start building their value by going on adventures to increase their rank. So as long as a team gains a rank, you can retire that team, and then you can basically gain a pocket of resource points to spend. So like a 0 rank team can go on an adventure and become 1st rank. It would cost one resource to get a 1st rank team, but you could also retire that team and gain a rank, to gain 1 point of resources. At 2nd rank, once your organization is 2nd rank, you can recruit a 2nd rank team by spending 2 points. But if you were a 1st rank team and then you adventured to gain 2nd rank, you could retire the team and get 4 ranks. 3rd rank team, it costs 3 to hire one. You'll get 9 if you retire a 3rd rank team. It's 4 and 16 for 4th rank, and then 5th rank is 5 and 25. But you can only retire a team and gain resources if they gained a rank. And since 5th rank is the maximum rank, if you recruit a team of 5th rank, you'll never be able to refund them to gain 25 points. You can refund them to get 5 points back, but they'll never be able to give you 25 points because you bought them at 5th level. So the team is always encouraged to build a new team below their max rank. So if they advance that team and they need resources, they can cash them in to get a quick pile of cash and build a new team 1 rank lower. So like once they get to 5th rank as a guild, they can recruit a 4th ranked team for 4 points, run them for 5 adventures, and then at 5th rank, they can retire them and get 25 points. So they have a net gain of 21 resources for building that 4th ranked team into a 5th ranked team. And they can stay at that high level of play. Or they can decide to back off that high level of play and instead cash out all of their higher ranked teams and start at a lower rank with only 2nd ranked teams, but their guild is still 5th rank. So they are dealing with 5th rank problems, but they could have like enough equipment and resources available to them that they could take a 2nd ranked team and potentially take on that challenge and have a really big gain by building a 2nd ranked team all the way up to 25th. So they can do that. But once you're 5th rank, like you're going to be working with 4th and 5th ranked teams. Typically, they're going to build a 4th ranked team and they're going to advance to the 5th. They're going to cash it in for big money, and then just they get 21 points, so they spend 4 points to build a new 4th ranked team, and then they have 17 points left over, and they still have a 4th ranked team. So it becomes very profitable at the high end to have team turnover. So let's see. We've save. Yeah, I just locked up. So I've hit save. I have to close this out real quick. I have to reopen it. Okay, great. So I'm going to open up the cemetery map so I can grab my next reference, my next color reference. I've been rambling a lot. Hopefully folks are find it fun. Yeah, this is the color that I want right here. That's Stone Top. Now I have all these blocked in. I can easily fill in Stone Top coloring. This is the exact same method that I used to build up the cemetery map that we were just looking at a second ago. Same hierarchy. Looks like I'm going to start doing ridge coloring. This, or There. This one. Let's, oops. Let's go grab the right brush. Perfect. Looks pretty much on point to me. Yeah, this is all good. Okay, cool. No. It's been a while since I've been inside this design space. It's nice to be back here. Finished Outer Range this over the weekend, and that show continues to impress me. It's good. There's some stupid shit. Everything has some stupid shit, but for the most part, I thoroughly enjoyed that show. I'm looking forward to a third season, assuming that there will be one. Sorry, I've got music in my head, you know? That looks pretty cool. To check my reference. It's been a while since I've invested time over here. Okay, I see you. Cool. Okay, I know what to do. Uh-oh. What, 20 minutes left? That's right. Still got 20. Everything's fine.
this needs to be. No, that's good.
Like that. That is nice. Forgot about this, so I'm ending up having to do a little extra slop work here. Sad. Yeah, we'll leave that like that. Nah, we'll leave that empty. This is the way. Here. This feels like it's also that. Yeah, we'll make that empty too. There we go. Should be this way. No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, cool. Now we're back on task. Blip. Blip. There we go. And we're right back into it. So nothing had happened. This is when this top-down, left-right policy comes in handy because I'm going to run into conflicting rock space here probably. Oh no, wait, I'm not supposed to have this interior stuff. That's interior rock language. This top is supposed to be clear of stuff like that. It's just perimeter. I believe. Pretty sure. Good. Let's take another look. Oh, it is doing little bricks. Okay. But yeah, it's just not really pushing into the structure too much, is it? It's got little jags that are going inside, but it doesn't have like, other than these wall pieces having like little connector bricks. It's for the most part clear up top. Yeah, I'm doing this right. Okay, cool. No. Thank you. I'm about to run out of time. I can sense it. I got 10 minutes. Good. Just a little chickadee bits. Good. That feels good. Tickety boo. Good, good, good. Narp. Like that. There. Nice. Almost there. Stay on target. Beep. There we go. There we go. Good. Good, 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 good. It should be like this. No, that doesn't feel right. Just gonna leave that bare. Bare for now. probably need to make a little carve rift, a little bit more fissures and stuff in these large rock faces. Just about time for me to go. Got about a minute left. I'll probably drop in here real fast before we cut. Let's do like this. There it is. Derp, derp, derp. Turn that off. So I'll be wrapping up here. I'm going to be back. Let's see. It's just about 8 o'clock here in Seattle now. I expect to be back on working with Marshall Powers at 1 o'clock. That'll be 5 hours from now. So 5 hours from now, I'll be back on stream. We're going to start. We're going to continue peeling apart the powers that currently exist and rebuild them to have a little bit more value, and to reconsider how we have some of these things built. So it's a mechanical develop session today, before we get back into more playtesting in a couple weeks. So it's just one more thing with these. They're just so easy to drop these in that I just want to keep doing them. But we'll leave that sit for now. Yeah, we're gonna leave that sit for now. It's gonna be a little bit more fidgety than I need to be. So there's our map so far. So far, so good. So what, right? Nom, 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 nom. When we come back, yeah, we'll be back next week on Monday to continue working on this. Friday at lunch, 5 hours from now, we'll be doing Marshall Powers system development. Tomorrow, I might actually be on tomorrow morning, since I won't be running a play test for Marshall Powers for at least a couple weeks. I think I've got a meeting with my editor for this adventure tomorrow morning, probably for an hour or so, and then probably like from 11 till 1-ish, we might come back on and maybe work on some more map here. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do. I might be back. Or not. I don't know how long my session with Stuart's going to run, so I might not end up being on at all tomorrow. But if I can, it'll be from 11 till 1. So maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow, but I hope to see you guys at lunch today. So catch up with you in 5 hours. Litigators,